The addition of the CenterPoint inventory module allows a user to track sales by several different kinds of items. The different kinds of inventory items that can be set up are service items with labor cost, non-tracked items, inventory items, serialized items, and lotted items. This video is going to concentrate on the setup of service items. To set up a new service item, we're going to go to Setup and Inventory and Items. Okay, you can see I have several different items already created. We are going to create an item for an Argentina bike tour that we are now offering. So we're going to go ahead and click New. And every item can have an abbreviation or needs to have an abbreviation, and that abbreviation needs to be unique here. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is my 14, is just a code number we have for it. And okay, that's going to be my abbreviation. I could make my abbreviation be something a little bit smaller, but some of the reports that I'm going to see are going to have just the item number or code on it. So I want it to say a little bit more. So I went ahead and expanded that a little bit more. And here I'm going to just go ahead and give it the name of the item. Now there is room for a further description. If you want to have a further description of this item that is going to automatically show up on the invoices. The additional description can also be added as you're going ahead and entering in an invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and type in a little more description. Okay, so we've got our additional description in here, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. Okay, anytime I want to see that description, I could just click on the button to the right there, and there's the additional description box. We're going to choose what type of item it is, and this particular one we're going to set up as a service item. It's not an inventory item. It's nothing that we're going ahead and tracking in inventory, so it's just going to be a service item here for us because it is a service that we provide. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and choose a sales group. Now there is a separate video on setting up sales groups, but I've gone ahead and set up a sales group for tours and lessons because I'm going to go ahead and select that group, and then I'm going to right click on it and edit it so that you can see that when I set up the group, I went ahead and set up some default accounts that are going to be used for that group. And I could also set up a default commission for that group as well, but we're not tracking commissions in our particular company. So we went ahead and set up some defaults for some accounts by going ahead and choosing tours and lessons. I'm also going to choose a sales tax category. Now we have a sales tax category called general, and we have one called service. Now on most of my service items in most states and in most jurisdictions, it's non-taxable. But if I right click and edit my service tax category here, you will see that the one jurisdiction where it is taxable is gone ahead and been marked. Okay, so therefore I am marking this as a taxable item, even though in a lot of jurisdictions it would not be taxed. Okay, we're going to go ahead and choose whether or not this is a current, discontinued, or obsolete item. And this is a current item. If we had some sort of weight stocking unit, we could go ahead and put that in here, but since this is a service item, that wouldn't be applicable. If we were using commissions on bike sales or on tour sales, we could go ahead and select the commission that we're going ahead and including here over here. we're not going ahead and including commissions. There is a separate video on setting up commissions. We're going to set a unit of measure for this item as each. Okay, so we're each package. And we could put in a suggested price for this item. So we could go ahead and say that the suggested price is $450. It might even be more than that, but we could go ahead then and also put in a unit cost if we think that we have a unit cost for that. Okay. On the accounts tab over here, well, actually, before I go over there, if there was some sort of a picture that you wanted to display with this item, you could go ahead and link a picture to this item by going ahead and clicking on the link to file. It'll bring up a place where you can navigate on your computer where that particular picture can be found. Since this is a tour, I don't really have a picture of the item to be included in this, so we're going to go ahead and skip that. There is an additional notes button down here at the bottom of the screen where you could type in additional notes about this item, and there are some reports where those additional notes can be included, and those notes will stay with this item. So if there's something internally that you want your users to know about this item, you might want to put some additional notes in there. Okay, on the accounts tab here, you can see that it's already gone ahead and filled in that sales and that returns and allowances account, but I do need to choose an expense account to which all of any expenses that are incurred by the sales of this item would go to. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that expense account is called service costs. Okay. The inventory entries and the cost of goods and adjustments and purchase price variance are all for inventory items that are tracked. So we're going to go ahead, and those are blanked out here, so we're going to go ahead and skip them. And you'll see here that Lotted tab, the units of measure tab, and the purchase information tab are all grayed out because they're not necessary for service items. I'm going to go to the pricing tab. Okay, now you're going to go ahead, choose which pricing method is used for this particular item. I am choosing one called fixed pricing with no quantity breaks. And you see that I've gone ahead and set up names for my different pricing levels. Okay, that is done underneath File and Preferences. And on the Preferences screen, I need to drag that over here. I'm going to go over to Items, and there's an option for price levels where I've gone ahead and on the Database tab here, I've decided that we needed 3 different price levels. I have customers who are bronze, gold, and platinum leveled. So I'm going to go ahead and set my sales price for each of those levels. So my bronze people are actually going to pay $890 for that. My gold level people are going to only pay $850, and my platinum level is going to be $825. Okay. So I'm actually going to go ahead and fix this price back here in the general tab. There's this suggested price is exactly what it says. It's just a suggested price. It's not the actual price that'll come up on that item when you choose a customer. These are the prices that are actually going to come up. Okay, and then the last tab is an other information tab. If you had set up custom fields about this item, you would be allowed to enter in the custom field information over here and then tell the system whether or not those custom fields are required. Custom fields are set up underneath File and Preferences. And once again, I'm going to drag my Preferences screen over here and then Items and then Item Custom Fields. This is where you can set up custom fields of information that you want to track about these items. And then you can decide whether or not when somebody sets up that item, whether or not that field is a used field or if it is also required. Okay, so you can tell the system that, but we don't have any custom items for or custom fields for this particular service item. And then if this particular item was not available, what items could you substitute it with? So you could go ahead and choose other substitute items. There isn't anything that I want to substitute this item for, so we're going to go ahead and click Save. And that is the setup of a service item.